Hello everybody, this is discussion number 5, building a collaborative culture. So there are 4 questions that are being asked, and the first one is, what are your guiding principles for how you operate and work with others? Well, first off, we should have mutual respect and working with one another. We need to all, again, have ideas to share. These are important things that we need to model for our students. I think it's also important to be authentic and to be ourselves and to be transparent. And sometimes that's hard to be, especially when you're working with others and you're new at working with others. So that's really important, and it's important for us to model those things for our students. Because if we expect them to have these same guiding principles and to operate and work with each other, then I think it's important that we model how we want them to be with each other. So those are my important guiding principles. Why do we exist as teachers? Well, we exist because it's our job, first off, to help our students become college and career ready. And I know a lot of other peers in their videos have said the same thing, but that's really important, and that's written in the Common Core. And if we are teaching the Common Core, that's something that's really important for us to do, and that's why the Common Core was written. For us to help our students become college and career ready and teach them 21st century skills. So that's one reason why we exist. It's also important for us to help our students become good learners. And it kind of goes back to last week's video in unlearning and relearning things. Our job as a teacher is to help our students become good learners. So that's why I think teachers exist. What do we want to create? Well, myself, I like to be able to create a learning community and again, help my students become good learners. I think it's important for me to model that. I'm hoping that I am a good learner, or trying to be a good learner, by getting my technology endorsement and taking the classes that I have taken through SUU to get my educational technology endorsement. But it's important for me to model that because, again, what I want my students to do, I think it's important for me to model and for them to see that I also am a learner, and that what I feel is important, I also do and model for them. The last question, what should school look like to support the needs of today's learners? One thing that I think is really important as far as teaching is a strategy called project-based learning, and it's something that I do all the time in my classroom. So many of my lessons are project-based learning oriented. And I think it's important because I want my students to take ownership of what they are doing. I want their learning to be authentic. I don't like to send my students home to do all their work, because I think then it's too easy for them to ask their parents to help and get involved, and then it becomes parent work, not student work. And so that's why I think project-based learning needs to also take place in the classroom, not just send them home to do it, because, again, it oftentimes becomes somebody else's learning and not theirs, and it becomes somebody else's project and not the students'. So I think it's important to do that in the classroom. But I think project-based learning is important for all my students. And I also think inquiry is important. I want my students to do the learning, and I like my lessons to be inquiry-based, especially in science and in math. I think it's important for my students to explore things that they're interested in and they're learning, and not just me tell them what to do. and here's how to do it. I think I think things need to be more student directed, and I think that's important for my students. I also like the idea of all our students having access to as much technology as possible, because using technology and using the tools of technology is our 21st century skills. And so I think that's important for my students to learn those, not just how to get on the internet and do research, not just word processing, but using other tools to become connected, just like we're expected to become connected with our students and with other peers. But I think it's important for our students to learn how to do that and learn the different tools and ways of doing it. Okay, so that's my discussion 5 for the week. Thank you.